Okay, so let's get right into it. You've got your big WM8009 Lean Starter presentation coming up, and, well, that assessment rubric can look a little intense, right? But what if I told you it's not actually a test? Think of it more like a map. And in this explainer, we're going to turn that map into your personal guide for absolutely nailing this presentation. First things first, let's just focus on this number, 24%. Let that sink in for a second. That is how much this one single presentation is worth for your final grade. It's a huge opportunity. This isn't just about showing up. It's about proving the value of everything you've built and learned, and you've got to back it up with solid evidence. So what even is this project demonstration? Well, the rubric calls it a live showcase of your startup's entire journey. And that's the key word right there, journey. This is not just about your final shiny product. Nope. It's about the whole process, how you proved a problem actually exists, who you proved it for, and how you built a minimum viable product to solve it. It's your startup's origin story. All right, section 1, your 24% mission. Let's get a little strategic here and figure out exactly where you should focus your energy to get the biggest bang for your buck. Just look at how the marks are broken down here. The biggest chunks, the biggest wins are in your plan and product. That covers your business model and how good your MVP is. That's a massive 28%. And right on its heels is this showcase at 24%, which is all about how well you demo your product and present your brand. I mean, together, that's more than half your grade right there. And how are they going to score you? Well, the rubric uses this 5-point performance scale. Now, a proficient score, a number 4, that means you did a good job. You met the standard. But to really crush this thing, you're aiming for exemplary, a 5. That's where you go above and beyond. So as we walk through the rest of this, we're going to keep our eyes locked on that exemplary prize and break down exactly what it takes to get there. Okay, section 2, nailing the problem. Now that we know where the points are, let's start at the very beginning. Every, and I mean every, great startup is built on a deep, deep understanding of a real problem. If you get this part wrong, everything else you build is on shaky ground. So what does an exemplary problem focus actually look like? Well, it's not enough to just say, here's a problem. You need a compelling, evidence-rich introduction. You have to critically define that problem with real insight. And notice the words they use here: precisely identify, fully validate, justify with rigor. This is all just fancy talk for show your work. Prove you actually talk to real people and that you truly get their pain points. So, once you've completely nailed the problem, it's time to show how you plan to solve it and, what you've actually built. This is where your business brain and your building skills really come together. And this slide really shows the night and day difference. A limited attempt, that's just kind of filling in the boxes on your business model canvas with the generic idea. But an exemplary BMC tells a story. It shows sophisticated thinking where your value prop has been tested and proven with actual customer evidence. It's the difference between a wild guess and a real strategy. And what about the product, the MVP? Hey, don't just take it from me. This is pulled directly from the rubric. An exemplary MVP is exceptional and iterated. Now that word, iterated, is absolutely crucial. It means you built something, you tested it, and then you improved it based on what you learned. And you can justify every single decision you made with cold, hard evidence. All right, section 4, showcasing your work. Having a great product and a solid plan isn't quite enough. You have to be able to demonstrate it effectively. This is where your demo, your brand, and your marketing all come into play. To really excel here, you got to think of it as a complete package. It's not just about having a slick demo. It's about being able to justify your design choices with evidence, showing off branding that feels strategic and smart, and proving you've run a real marketing experiment that got real results. Everything, every little piece has to look and feel professional and totally intentional. Now, this next section, this is the engine that drives the entire lean startup process. It's not just about what you built. It's all about how you learned and adapted along the way. This right here is the famous build, measure, learn cycle. And trust me, it is explicitly rewarded in the rubric. You build a version of your product. You measure how real users react to it. Then you learn from that data and use those insights to go back and build a better version. You have to show evidence of this cycle in your presentation. And here it is, the critical distinction. A proficient presentation might just, talk about the cycle, but an exemplary one, it shows the deep application. It proves with data and evidence how each learning cycle led to specific, meaningful changes in your startup. It's about showing the learning, not just naming the theory. And finally, it all comes down to this: the delivery. You could have the best project in the entire world, but if you can't communicate it with confidence and clarity, your message is just going to get lost. The bar for an exemplary delivery is, not gonna lie, pretty high. We're talking graduate level communication, a polished, compelling story that completely captivates the panel. But it's the Q&A where you can really, truly shine. Every answer needs to be sharp, precise, and backed by your evidence, showing that you can think on your feet with real entrepreneurial confidence. So, as you get ready, try not to think of this as just a list of criteria to check off a box. Think of it as the story you're about to tell, the story of a problem, a customer, a solution, and a journey of learning. The rubric, it's just the guide to help you tell that story incredibly well. So the only real question left is, what story will your presentation tell?